Smarter Markets is at CERAWeek, and we're very pleased to be joined by Susan Sakmar, adjunct professor at the Law School of the University of Houston and board member at Flex LNG. Great to see you again.
Hi, great to see you here too, David.
It's always great to catch up, and there's a lot to catch up on. I know, we've been talking about LNG for at least 4 years, and you were talking about it for many years before that, writing the book on it as well. And now it certainly seems like LNG is having another one of those moments. What's the conversation around LNG right now?
Well, you're absolutely right. It's yet another moment for LNG. And you're seeing it, I guess, front and center at CERAWeek. And of course, I'm sure I feel for the CERAWeek organizers, because this event was probably planned a year ago where we were having different conversations. A year ago, the question on everyone's mind was looking like there was going to be a massively oversupplied LNG market. Where was all the LNG supply going to go, right? The coming wave, right? How was the coming wave going to be absorbed? And I would say now no one is talking about that. It's more, so that's been sort of, the Qatar outages have completely upended that discussion. And I would say there's more discussion and more, optimism in terms of, I think another wave is coming. And so you're seeing a lot of interest in yet another wave of U.S. LNG projects that some have been in the works, some are still awaiting FIDs. I think they're all going to go. We'll get another wave because the market will need it.
And it's so fascinating because I've had the same experience here, where it feels like every conversation you hear something about another LNG project in the works. Can you put that in context relative to some of the earlier waves of U.S. LNG? How do you see the investments happening now in LNG in the U.S. in these new projects?
Well, I think now with, someone noted on stage that, we've had 2 wars in 5 years. So we're in a different world. And I think there's still a lot of uncertainty as to what this new world is going to look like. But, some things are already coming out, which is globalization seems to be under stress. So, the era of deglobalization may be upon us. What does that mean in terms of trade, in terms of allies? But the 2 wars in 5 years has really put LNG and energy security to the forefront. And what a lot of people, oil obviously is important, but LNG has become almost, equally important, because you need LNG for a lot of, well, we're seeing it. You need it not just for power, but now we're seeing fertilizer implications, helium, right? So we're seeing all these other products that most people didn't maybe realize were sort of derivative of natural gas. So we're seeing that now in the market, and that's a bit different. And so you're just seeing continued interest in LNG and, another wave of projects. So I think we're going to start to see even more, FIDs sooner if people can ramp up. We're seeing existing producers. Cheniere has said they may defer maintenance, which they did in 2022. So they may, just to get more cargoes out to the market now while they're needed. And of course, we haven't even hit Europeans, storage refill season, which is coming.
Right. And when you look around, right, so we have this closure of the Straits of Hormuz, at least a selective closure. We've got the Qatari LNG offline, facilities damaged. Putting to one side how it plays out in the near term, how do you think that changes where people will be investing and where LNG will be coming from in the future?
Well, again, I think the U.S. is emerging as the place to be. One, for reliable. I mean, that's come up a number of times. Reliability. And now, Qatar, to its credit, Qatar was a reliable supplier and was the sort of the gold standard for many, many years. And so I think that's taken people by surprise and has been a bit of a shock to the industry, like an unfortunate shock. Most people thought very highly of the Qataris and what Qatar LNG had built out with, by the way, their major IOC partners. Exxon was there, Conoco, Phillips, Shell, right? So there were, partners, big players that were partners with them. So I think that's been unfortunate, but it's also made people think, what regions of the world are safe? And there aren't that many, unfortunately, right? I mean, the Middle East now doesn't look safe. There's a war still in Ukraine and Europe, which doesn't look to be ending. In fact, everybody's been a bit distracted now by the Iranian war. So, what's going on in that Ukraine war, which few weeks ago, maybe there was going to be a peace deal. Now, I think it's only intensified. So that's another region battling a war. Latin America has challenges. Asia doesn't really have the resources. So it's a combination of energy security is becoming combinations. Who has resources? The U.S. and North America, Canada, our friendly neighbors to the north, have a lot of resources. Alaska has a lot of resources. And then knock on wood, hopefully we remain a safe region. I mean, we look safer than most, I suppose, at the moment. So I think a lot of investors are looking at the U.S. Even more closely than before.
And this is an industry, where people are planning these investments over years, if not decades. And now we really don't know what's the state of the world going to be in 4 weeks. What's been kind of the tone or the vibe of the conversations you've been in here this week, where you've got the entire, energy industry in one place?
Yeah. Well, I think generally the vibe is pretty good, because despite sort of all the headline news, there's still a lot of money out there. And someone once years ago had said, there's always money for good projects, and there are good projects, and the projects that maybe were like struggling or weren't looking so good are now looking better, right? So I think we'll see investment. I don't feel like that's changed. There's still a lot of money out there despite sort of some headline risks. So I think the mood is fairly good, at least again for LNG and in particular US LNG.
Right. And you've seen the industry grow from, kind of the very roots to now. Do you have any sense of like where we are on kind of it maturing?
Yeah. Well, so, at this event, Cheniere just last night celebrated, 10 years of U.S. LNG exports, and they had a nice little celebration here in the evening, a little reception. So that's a pretty, great milestone, and kudos to Cheniere for being the first to turn their import terminal around into an export terminal. So I would say that's the first decade of U.S. LNG. So we're in, and then now we have another wave of projects coming. So that takes us to another decade. But as you said, these are long life projects. So I think it's another 20-year build out of U.S. LNG, including Alaska LNG, which is here, and that is going to move forward. I think that's been my wild card pick since probably 2012. So that's been on my wild card pick for a very long time. And people would say, you're crazy, you're crazy. I'm like, no, it's going to happen someday. And I actually think, yes, I think it's going to happen. And that'll be a long, long lead project, but that'll go on for decades.
It seems like then we're just getting started. Huh?
We're just getting started. I mean, I guess we're only in 10 years, and it seems like it took a long time, but we're only getting started. We have another 30 years of 30, 40 years, maybe 50 years. I mean, these are 40-year projects. Like Cheniere has said that. The folks at Cheniere have said, when you build an LNG facility, it's a 30-plus year asset, and they're hoping to get 50 years out of it, right? So they're going to get as many years out of it as they can.
Well, we'll have a lot to talk about for a long time to come.
Well,
thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you.